So let's start with light part 2. In this video we are going to talk about reflection of light by plane surface. But before starting this topic, let's try to understand the two terms which are going to uh, prove very helpful to us: ray of light and beam. So what is a ray of light? A ray of light is straight line path of light. The straight line path of light is referred to as ray of light. Like this is my ray of light and it's just um, traveling along a straight line path, so I can say that what this is a ray of light. So whenever a light travels along a straight line path, we can call it as ray of light, because we'll be using this term a lot in the next few videos. So now, if ray of light is a straight line path of light, then what is beam? Beam is basically collection of rays of light. Okay, collection of rays of light are referred to as a beam, or is referred to as a beam. What is a beam? A beam is a collection of rays. Okay, now we know what is a ray of light and what is a beam. Let's try to understand how does reflection occurs from a plane surface using this example. Right here I've drawn, or I've taken a mirror. Let me say that this m dash is my mirror. Like, okay, this is my mirror and I've got a ray of light right here which is striking this mirror. I've got a ray of light which is striking this mirror at point O. So the point at which you are in the ray that is coming is striking the mirror is referred to as point of incidence. So is my O is my point of incidence, right? All of this is provided in your notes, you can find them there. And then the point at which what happens is that when it strikes, obviously I know whenever a ray of light strikes a boundary, okay, strikes a boundary between different media, it gets, what it does, it gets reflected back, or it just bounces back. So here the bouncing back is being occurred. So a ray of light strikes right here and then it gets reflected from this point. So this is the ray which is striking and this is the ray which is getting reflected. Right now at this point O, what I've done is that I've drawn a line. I've drawn a line like this. It is a which is a perpendicular line. I've drawn a line like this, and I've produced it backwards and named it as n dash. Now let's try to name these things. So always remember the ray of light which is coming or which is striking your mirror or any of your surface or any surface is basically that ray of light which is striking any screen or any object is incident ray, because it is being incident, right? So I name it as incident ray. So the ray which is here, right here, the ray which is striking your mirror is named as incident ray. The ray that is coming or striking your mirror or any object, or the ray that is incident, is referred to as incident ray. That ray which is getting reflected back, is referred to as reflected ray. Okay, so that ray which is getting bounced back or reflected back is referred to as reflected ray. So this is my incident ray. Let me name it as AO, and this OB is my reflected ray. Now this line, this perpendicular line which I've drawn at the point of incidence is your normal. Normal is what? Normal is just a perpendicular line. Okay, so now if I've drawn this normal, right, some angle is being formed right here and some angle is being formed right here as well, right? I've named it as I and R. Let us try to understand what these angles are. See, this angle is made by this incident ray and this normal, right? I've named it as I, that is angle of incident. So the angle which your incident ray makes with the normal is referred to as angle of incidence, whereas that angle which your reflected ray makes with the normal is angle of reflection, denoted by R. So I is the angle of incidence, R is the angle of reflection. So this is how reflection occurs by a plane surface. Take a plane surface. On a plane surface, your ray of light will strike it. A ray of light is going to strike the plane surface, and after striking that plane surface, obviously it will not be able to pass, so it will get bounced back. So the point where it is striking, we name it as point of incidence. Okay, so we name it as point of incidence. And then the ray that gets back reflected back, we name it as reflected ray. So all of these terms you've got to know about: incident ray, reflected ray, normal, point of incidence, angle of incidence, and angle of reflection. So overall, you now have an idea how reflection occurs by a plane surface, right? So from this the explanation, we've concluded two main points. Okay, we've concluded two main points. The first point is that my incident ray, my reflected ray, and my normal ray, all of them lie on the same plane, right? See, this is my, if this is my surface, this is my mirror, right? This is if I say this is one, this portion is above my mirror or my plane surface, and this portion is below my plane surface. So this is one area and this is the other area, right? All of them, all of these rays, these three rays are basically lying above, so they are basically in the same plane, right? So if they are in the same plane, that is my first point now. In my incident ray, my normal ray, and my reflected, all are lying on the same plane. So first point that I've got to know about is, first conclusion I've got is that all of these three ray in reflection, what happened is that my three rays, the ray that is striking the ray that is getting reflected back, and the perpendicular which I've drawn, all three of them are going to lie on the same plane. The second point which I've concluded is that I've got two angles, and these angles are basically equal to each other. Angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. Now you may ask, why? How have you concluded that these are equal? See, there is a change in angle only when there is some bending. My angle will increase or decrease if there is a bending, right? Maybe if there is a bending, maybe my angle will increase or maybe my angle will decrease, right? So there needs to be some kind of bending if you want your angle to vary. But right here there is no bending, that is no bending is occurring. All of the light that is coming, the ray of light that is coming, is just getting bounced back. There is no bending there, so obviously angle of incidence is going to be equal to angle of reflection. So this is another point that I've concluded. So this completes our reflection of light by plane surface, and these two conclusions that we've got basically are known as your laws of reflection. And these two are the two laws of reflection. And what we did is we did a little small explanation, we did a small experiment, we tried to understand it by performing some experiment, or by understanding this explanation we also got the knowledge of the 2 points, we derived at some conclusion, and then these conclusions were named as the laws of reflection.